Good evening and welcome to Spooky Southcoast, the Better Late Than Never edition. Tim Leisberg with you, along with co-host Stephanie Burke. And we are here tonight to talk about the paranormal, as we are each and every Saturday night. Some issues getting started with the Spooky TV, completely my fault.
I wasn't going to out you.
I couldn't figure out what was going on, and of course, having two people who are attuned to the cosmos far better than I in the studio with me, I say, never say that statement that you always make about what's causing the problems.
Okay.
The whole Mercury retrograde thing. I try to say don't do that because, most of the time it's our fault. And this time it was totally my fault. I couldn't get the audio to work on Spooky TV, and it turns out it's because I didn't have the headphones turned up on the board. Should have been the first thing that I checked, but apologies to everybody out there. So, as I mentioned, we are here to talk about the paranormal, as we are each and every Saturday night. There is a lot going on in the paranormal world this week. There has been some tragedy that we've made a conscious effort not to discuss, but it may come up in discussion throughout the course of tonight. But I just want to lead things off right at the top. The reason why we are not discussing it, at least in our collective opinion, is that it's not a paranormal issue.
No, it's not.
It's something that happened between two people that we don't know all the facts of.
Correct.
We don't know all the history behind it. Some stuff is starting to come out in the media.
Yes, but bottom line, I think, first and foremost, it's not anybody's business but the people involved.
In fairness, though, as well, it is a tragedy.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's a terrible thing to have happen to what a lot of people perceive as being a community.
Yes.
But that I also want to say that we've seen some of the ugly come out in the last 2 days as well, at a time when it really shouldn't be that way.
I agree.
People should be kind of coming together and being there for one another, and instead there's a lot of attacking
into a full-blown war.
In some cases deservedly so.
Yes.
But I don't want to get into all of that. Some of it may work its way into the discussion tonight with our guest, because we have joining us, we have medium Candace Dalton, who's here for the first time. I can't believe it's taking this long to get you in here.
It's taken too long, but that's my own fault.
Well, you've been here before.
I have.
With Phil, and
yes.
You've been on Fun 107. And
Yep, that was probably 2 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a real long time, but...
Well, what are they waiting for?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think I had to make my debut here again with you.
Or was it that you just didn't want to get up early anymore?
I didn't want to get up
You're like,
early.
I don't want to be on morning shows. I'll do Spooky Southcoast. They start at 10 o'clock.
It must be intuitive
most of the
because
time.
I hate mornings. I don't do
We
mornings
converted
well.
her to our side now, so we stole her.
I've always been a night owl, so this works
That's
really
fine.
well.
She's definitely more than welcome to come by anytime. The door is always open, except it's locked, so you have to knock.
Thanks, Tim.
But we will be talking to you all night tonight about your career, your work, your life, what it's like to do what you do. And every time we have somebody on that has abilities such as yours, and I've learned a lot by having Stephanie here each week by my side as I fumble my way through questions for people with abilities. Before, I was always kind of in the dark, but now she can kind of bail me out sometimes, be like, no, it doesn't work like that. But I've always been fascinated by how the gift works for everybody and how people are able to make those connections that the rest of us don't seem to be able to. And I've learned a lot by watching you on your Periscopes. You've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks on Periscope, and everybody can follow you on Twitter at Medium Candace.
Yes.
And they can watch your Periscopes, which you're doing right now, which is I love the setup.
It's
It's fantastic.
But it certainly works. So I want to say hi to everybody that's watching on Periscope as well as on Spooky TV at SpookySouthcoast.com. Took a little while to get that going, but it's up and running now. And I love this idea because you're talking about this in a way that's very personal. It's not like having to go and see you at one of the various events that you do where people are coming into a room with, 1,000 other people, and you're explaining yourself to every person in the room all at once. With that, it's a very direct connection.
Totally.
And it's a way for people to kind of get comfortable with you before they would want to, say to you, okay, I'm ready to actually give you money to do this for me now. And that's one thing that I think is missing a lot of the times with what both of you do, is that people don't have the chance to really know who you are and feel comfortable with you.
Right. That is huge to me. In every show that I do before I start, I tell them, thank you. I tell them that before I even start what my intentions are, and then I tell them about my story so they get to know me a little better. Because if I just start reading, I want them to get comfortable. I want to make them laugh. I want them to know who I am as a person, and that I'm not going to make this so heavy. So that's always important. I think Periscope's fabulous because I can do one-on-ones, and it could be 10 people just following, 5 people, or it could be 25, who knows. But I can answer questions as best I can. And so, like you said, it is more personal.
I think that's important too because, I mean, coming from someone that A, does this for a living, but B, has also been to many of your shows, that's so funny. For everybody that doesn't know, Candace has her phone set up on Periscope with Silly Putty, and it just keeps falling. Like, you just see it sliding down the wall.
You didn't use
You
it.
have to be here to see it.
You have to
but-
use the official
Take a
Apple
picture on
brand
your
of Silly
phone.
Putty.
But anyways, for somebody that's actually been to your shows and didn't really know you before you started, yes, you do tell about yourself, but I feel like people that are sitting in the audience are in such a fog, like a deer in the headlights, just waiting and anticipating and anxious, and they don't know what to expect, that even your story just goes through one ear and out the other.
Totally.
I know even like being in the audience, other people's readings go through one ear and out the other because I'm just waiting and hoping and wishing and all those different things. So I think Periscope's a really good way to kind of break down that wall between like us and regular people.
Yes, absolutely. And I do the same thing. I've even gone, like when we
Why
went to
didn't we
John
think of that
Stetson.
before?
I don't know. Here we go.
I hope people are watching it. You have to be watching on the Periscope at
This
the
is
same
what I
time.
had the stuff stuck to.
You have to get the full experience here.
Oh, it's pretty fancy.
There's never a dull moment in my life.
No, and
but
it gets worse when we're together.
You're right. As like when we went to John Stetson,
Yes.
I didn't care about whatever anybody else's questions were. I was like, please pick me, please pick
And
me.
we didn't even
please
care
pick
about
me.
his story. We just
No.
wanted him to stop
Yep,
talking so that way he
exactly.
could continue and do. And I feel like everybody gets like that.
Uh-huh.
Like they just want to say, shut up, stop
Yes.
talking so that way you can get to my reading.
I tell myself to shut up and
Yes.
stop talking because I'm like, I talk as fast as I can so they get to know me, and then I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, but then I know you'll agree with this too, that when you start telling your story, for whatever reason, like you already have spirit coming through in your head, and then you start scrambling your words, and then you start sounding like a weirdo, and then you forget what you're saying, and it's just
You've
it's a
seen
mess.
me. I've been
I do
my
the
own
same
deer
thing,
in
though.
headlights.
Yeah. Yep, we both do.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go to a doctor or a dentist, you want to feel comfortable with that person.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to a psychologist or a psychologist, a psychotherapist, whatever in that field you want to go to, you have to get comfortable with that person. And I feel it's the same way what you do as well. If you're not making a connection with that person, it's going to immediately see the biggest problem that I have when I go to a doctor, for example, and I'm just going to use that as an example. Say a psychologist. Now, the biggest problem I would have with them is if I feel like they're judging me.
Yes.
Right away. Like as soon as I start telling them this information, they're coming at me with a judgment, or they're, I can just tell by the look at their face. Whereas with somebody like yourself, it's the tables are flipped. They're judging you automatically, and they're waiting for you, because a lot of people want to believe, but a lot of people aren't ready to accept it either. So you've got people who are both either skeptical or, you could say anything, and they would buy it 100%. So you have to kind of make sure that you're getting them in the right frame of mind before you give them the information.
Completely. And I also, when I'm doing before I start my show, I try to make eye contact with every single person in the room, as long as it's as, small as possible, like 30 people. I mean, if there's 200 people, it's kind of impossible. But
No, you should just literally go down the line and just stare at everybody
Hello.
for a second.
So, like at a wedding, hello. So I try to make eye contact because I think that's important too. Like you're recognizing them, you're showing them that you see them, and it's important that they're there. And I want to make everybody know, like when I do my shows, is that they're in this atmosphere together, that they're not just here, I don't know, just on a whim. Like they are meant to be there in that room, at the same time. And so.
Does it matter that particular group is there together too? Like, are they lending their energies and their connections into one another to help kind of power things up for you?
Yeah, like for example, just on Wednesday I had a show, and there were like 5 women there who all lost their husbands, but they didn't know one another. So they were attracted to come to, that show, and for a reason. And I think it was because that for that night it was truly based upon, helping those who are widowed and whatnot. And there's other times where it's like all kids, or another time it's all dads, all moms. It all depends. So yes, their energy is attracted for a reason. It's just universe's way.
So when you are doing a show or giving somebody a one-on-one reading, how does it happen for you? Because that to me is always the most fascinating part of this, is what is the process of it? How do you know when you're making a connection?
Well, for me, it's quite a process, and Steph's trying to get me to cut down on my process because I take a good half hour to really like get ready. Like I have a routine. Like every day, I got to nap before my show. I got to get in the shower, get all ready, and then I can start to meditate, open up my chakras. I call upon all my angels. Then once that I get to a show, I'm just shifting the energy in the room and trying to get it going. Again, when I'm telling my story, even though my mouth's moving, that's when I'm really starting to connect because I can feel a difference. It almost feels like I just had a couple glasses of wine really quick, and that's when I will start to connect. And so I call upon the other side just to start, be clear and precise and speak through me, and let's do this.
So your story is kind of like your way of. It's almost like being able to come out there, and I don't want to say like read from a script, but almost like be able to have something be second nature to you,
Yes.
so that you can multitask at the same time. Now, what happens if after that's all done, you're not feeling any kind of connection? Is there something you can do to kind of jumpstart making those connections?
Yeah, so like I have done that where I'm like, okay, like what do I do? And I'll just look at one person that I'm really energetically attracted to, and I will start with them, and just I'll imagine that they're the only person in the room instead of having all this, overwhelming energy. Because as a human and being a medium, when you go like the only thing I bring with me is a water. That's all I have. I don't have anything physical to give to people. So this is all mental, and so I will just pretend nobody else is in the room and I'll just keep focus on one person and I will start to connect. And once I hit that one connection, it like almost opens right up. It's like a flower just immediately blossoming. So it helps because I think that that's the human ego. Like of course, I know people are there to be there, but I know that there's some people who are judgmental. I know that there's some people who are skeptics, open skeptics, that's fine. But I like to just make the room at a nice, easy calm. It's almost like just making the waves slow down and just connecting.
Well, let me ask you this then. How comfortable are you with getting up in front of a large crowd outside of this? If you weren't giving a reading, if you weren't utilizing your abilities, and I said to you, I want you to come to this convention and stand up there and just give a speech on, Abraham Lincoln's biography. Just give us a presentation on that. Would you be comfortable getting up in front of that many people and talking about something like that?
About like a subject that's
Just
not...
anything in general.
It's funny. I can talk in front of a crowd and I'm good. But if it comes to something that like I have no idea what if I had to talk about Abraham Lincoln, I would probably just start making people laugh and.
Well, because I'm just wondering how much of your, sometimes when you don't, it's not stage fright in any way.
No.
It's not you that's blocking it out. It's just waiting for the connection to come.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, there's definitely times that, like, I had a 200-person fundraiser, like, a month ago, and I was nervous. I was really nervous. I mean, that's the most I've done in front of 200 people, and so I made my mom come with me. And just having that comfort of having that familiar face in the crowd. Once I got there and I entered the room, I was like, oh. And this is why I'm here, is because all these people are here because of their grief. And look at it in that perspective instead of being, I'm not here to prove anything to anybody. I'm here to help. So that's what I keep reminding myself when I do get nervous in front of a crowd.
I mean, for both of you, that's got to be the biggest obstacle to overcome, is realizing that at some point you're not proving what you do to other people. Mm-hmm. You're just doing it. At some point you have to give up the idea that you're going to win over everybody that's in the room. Mm-hmm. Whether you give them a reading or not, you have to give up the idea that you're going to get them all to say, oh yeah, she's the real deal. Mm-hmm. Because really, the only people that are going to say that are the ones that feel that.
Yes.
And they have to feel that connection. So at what point did you say to yourself, screw whether you believe me or not, I'm just going to give you the information and you do with it what you do with it?
I wonder when I figured that out. The past 2 years has been a big growing spiritually, I've been growing a lot. I finally had to just get rid of the human ego. That's what I had to do. And I had to realize that I would come home from shows and be like, oh my God, I didn't get to those last 5 people. I feel so bad. So I had to switch my thinking around. I was like, Candace, you got to X amount of people. Look at it that way, that you at least helped one person that night. And that's what made me feel like I had to change my thinking around instead of thinking about the negative, or what messages am I going to get? Am I going to get emails that are just like hate emails? Am I going to get this? But once you change that universal thinking, it changed around big time for me. So probably the last couple of years, I've changed it around, but definitely before I was like, I got to prove that I can do this. And so thank you.
We try, and I send her messages online, so
I
it's
was
easier.
actually just
to-
about to do it, but I'm like, I don't want to be that person again.
Yeah, I have to. I'm like watching the VU meter and be like, I don't think that that's loud enough. And then what happens is people turn up the radio so they can hear you, and then I come in. Oh,
Yeah, you're like whoa.
like when I turn
I'll
up
talk
the
nice and
headphones over here
close.
on you guys. But so, I mean, to me, I still feel like when I get up and I do a presentation, when I do a lecture, when I have an event, I still feel like there's somebody in that room. Even if it's, when we do the Legend Trips events, we break everybody down to like little small groups of 8 or 10.
Yep.
I'll feel like there's that one person in there that isn't buying into this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that will alter the experience for the people, that will alter the energy that's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of how it will go for you as well? Or is there enough belief in that room happening that it kind of blocks out any kind of negativity like that?
Yeah, so
I don't even want to say negativity.
right.
I'll
the
just say kind of,
skeptic,
just the opposite approach.
skepticism. Is that the word?
It is now.
How do you say? I can't say it. Like it's like cinnamon. All right. Anyways, ADD. But I can tell immediately who is negative and who's sitting there because they got their arms crossed and they're looking at you, and so I call them out. I actually call them out and say like, you were dragged here, weren't you? And they kind of crack a smile, and I'm like, no worries. Like I get it. Like I would be scared too coming to this and wondering what kind of blonde freak is talking to the dead, and they start laughing, and so once they realize that I am just a person, they ease up a little bit and the energy starts to shift. And again, that's what I used to do, is I would start with the ones who are super skeptic or the ones who didn't believe, because I wanted to prove to them that I had a gift. But now I don't waste my energy on that. I go to the people who are just dying for a reading. Might be a mother in the crowd who just wants to hear from their child knowing that they're okay, etc. So once I do that, call them out a little bit, acknowledge them, like they feel kind of important. And that's what I want them to feel. I want them to feel important. I want them to feel good, because nobody should feel pressured to be there. And I believe, like you said, there's always that one in the room that just is there because they want to prove it wrong. But really deep down, they have something that's making them go.
Right.
They do have this little small piece of belief that's why they're holding on. That's why they're doing it.
Like, I don't ever want to be the person whose job it is to make other people believe in the existence of the paranormal, believe in the existence of ghosts. Mm-hmm. I want them to at least believe what I'm telling them in my experience. Mm-hmm. And part of that is that I have to admit, hey, I have a pretty good idea, but I don't know everything.
Right.
And is that kind of the approach that you have to take? Like, I know that this happens, but I can't really explain all of the hows and the whys.
Yes, totally. I tell them, like, listen, I might not be dead on with everything. Like, I'm not perfect, so just bear with me. If things don't make sense right away, they'll make sense later. And people, I think, respect that I'm being as honest as I can. Like, I might not always be dead on. I'm hearing things, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't know where they're going. I don't know if it's going to the person next to you. So just keep it in mind. And usually I get emails like, oh my God, you told me to keep this in mind, and this makes so much sense. So, it makes it a little easier for them to pick it up that way.
Now, you come from a family that has abilities.
Yes.
So was it something that you knew growing up that eventually it would hit you, or did it hit you before you knew that other people in the family had the gift?
I had no idea that my family came from a line of mediums and psychics. So when I was 7 years old, I, always heard things, knew things. I could feel, sense, and see spirit in my room. But, as a kid, you think it's ghosts, like that's what you think of, or it's like the boogeyman, whatever it is. And, but I when I was 7, my mom's sister passed away. And right, when she passed, I could really feel and sense her presence, and to tell my mom these things. And, mom would be like, where are you getting this information from? So a year after her passing, my mom happened to go into surgery, and while she was under anesthesia, she saw her sister and her father standing right before her, one of those crazy experiences. And so she called my Aunt Maureen, and that's on my dad's side, and I didn't understand why she was calling her sister-in-law. There's 9 other siblings on that side, so, 8 more. And I had to ask her, and I said, Mom, why are you telling Auntie Maureen that? She said, well, Candace, she's a medium. And I had no idea what that meant. And I said, what's a medium? She said she can connect to the other side. And that's when it hit me. And then probably fast forward to when I was 14 is when I found out that my dad has it. My grandmother is super psychic. My great grandmother is a psychic, and her sister is a medium. And so I was like, why didn't you guys tell me this when I was younger? Might have helped me a little bit,
Right.
but they might have just been trying to protect me too, without freaking me out or whatever. And I think my dad also kept it to himself too, because there's people out there who are judgmental and everything. So
Sure, absolutely. And we'll probably delve a little bit more into that side of things as we go on with the discussion. But you made an interesting point there when you said that you would see spirit in your room and that you thought it was ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think I'm blowing up your spot here when I say, you've told us you're kind of afraid of ghosts.
I am.
But you see spirit all the time.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
I think the difference with spirit is that when I am able to connect to them on the other side, it's just like picking up a phone call and talking to them. Ghosts or those who are stuck between here and there, I feel like their energy is really intense to me. I was walking down the hallway by myself going to open the door, and I was like, yeah, like it's dark. I don't like the dark, and like, excuse me, what I just choked on.
It's a ghost.
It's the
ghost actually has his hands around you. See, I can see them. He's choking you right
thanks
now.
a lot.
Yes.
So now she's coughing. She can sense and feel me.
There's multiple ghosts in here. This is
we're all-
getting really weird.
Where's
all
my
of a sudden.
water? Oh, it's holding up my phone. So, what the hell are we talking about?
About the
You're
difference between
afraid
ghosts and
of
spirits.
Oh, yes, I'm very afraid. Like, I will not go into a haunted house, like Halloween-wise, yeah. But like, if you were going to an old hospital that's shut down, whatever, no thanks. Like, I'm all set unless I have a big burly man with a gun. Sure.
I own one of those.
Yeah. So I'll take Stephanie's husband.
What good's the gun going to do with a ghost?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I understand the idea.
Yeah.
I understand wanting to have that there, but if all of a sudden you're getting attacked by a ghost, I don't think shooting it would be the best plan.
You're right.
Especially if somebody's standing on the other side of that ghost.
That was the first thing that Brendan said to me when he got really freaked out about what I did, and he had a very large experience with a ghost. He just said, I don't know what to do. I can't shoot it. It's like, well, no, you can't. So we just have a deal going on that I take care of the dead and he takes care of the living, and we don't cross over.
That works out well.
That's a good team.
Unless he suddenly starts sending you more business, if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
No,
no,
that's
don't do that.
You don't want to. Like, I know that you are not a big fan of Stephanie yourself. You don't like to have experiences that are overwhelming.
Right.
You like to try to stay in control of your abilities.
Right.
Is it possible, though, that sometimes, even when you're in that setting of doing an event, that sometimes it gets overwhelming for you? That sometimes you're even on stage and you're like, wait a minute, I just need to take a 5-minute break here.
Completely.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my God.
We're never in control.
No.
And I'm a control freak. Like, I don't even like being in the passenger
I
side.
hadn't noticed.
No? Really?
Well, here.
Guess we're not that close.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
I can't even be in like the passenger side of somebody else's car without like thinking twice, or the back seat's even worse. And I mean, even like motorcycles or boats or like weird things like that.
I jumped off a boat because I was stuck in the middle ocean and swam back to shore because
Yes,
I
like
needed control. I needed to get off
I need
the boat.
control. So it's hard. We can't control them.
Is that a theme that runs through a lot of people that have abilities? Since you're both saying you want to be in control, is that something you see in other people that have these gifts, that
I
they
don't know.
are control? I don't want to say control freaks, but that they like to have control over situations.
We're two very different mediums, but at the same time, we're very much alike when it comes to our personalities.
Yeah.
So it could just be a personality thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I have noticed anxiety and OCD in a lot of people.
but maybe not control.
Control what? I mean, I'm not a big control freak over any other people, but if it's like myself,
yeah.
Right, exactly. Like myself, I have my own control stuff, but not around like any other people.
One of the things I would worry about if I had abilities like yours and I was going into a haunted location is I would be concerned about whether or not I would be getting accurate information from that. Just like I go in there with whatever bells and whistles I might bring in there, I know how easily I can get mistaken readings and I can kind of misinterpret the data that I'm collecting. Do you worry about that as well, that maybe sometimes you're walking in there and I'm not talking about, you're feeling that there's a ghost, that you're feeling there's a spirit there, but it isn't there, like that type of thing. I'm talking about in terms of the narrative, in terms of the information that you're getting. Especially when, I know that Stephanie, you've done this, you've gone on an investigation, and you've said that the stuff you're getting has nothing to do with the stuff that we're getting. I remember doing a session with a ghost box, and it said a whole bunch of stuff, and then you came into the room afterwards and said, yeah, just don't listen to that. Because you were getting completely other information.
Right, but then again, that goes back to how accurate our ghost box is, how accurate our like different pieces of equipment. I use the example all the time, and I will quote it till the day is long. Jeff Belanger said at one of our Legend Trips events, you can have 20 meters, K2 meters, or Mel meters, or whatever in front of you, and none of them are lighting up. It doesn't mean that 20 ghosts aren't standing there.
Right.
So I just think that that's people trying to get scientific information with scientific equipment, and it's not always scientific.
See, and maybe, Candace, you can see kind of where I come from with this, being somebody who's not around paranormal investigation. I've long since abandoned the idea that we're really going to be able to, quote-unquote, prove the existence of ghosts through physics. I don't think that we're going to be able to quantify and qualify everything that we're experiencing with different types of meters and devices, because I don't feel that a ghost is physical. I feel that a ghost is emotion. And basically we're trying to go around and record a ghost, like we're trying to record love, we're trying to record sadness, and it's something that you can only really feel. Is that similar to what you're feeling with the spirit, that there is no real physical manifestation of it as much as it is that emotional connection?
Yeah, I mean, the only type of physical, connection, as you know, is like the signs, So, but it is all feelings. It is all emotion. Even some people, when somebody passed, they can really sense and feel the presence of their loved ones. But I believe that it is. All of it. I can feel. It's so emotional. As like when I look back and think about, oh my God, how did I do that show for 2 hours, and how did I pull through, how did I bring through this guy who was shot and murdered, and his mother's sitting right in front of me, and I'm bringing through his name and acting like him, their personality come through. It's really all feelings and emotions and what they feel for their family, or how sorry they are, all this stuff. So yeah, it totally has a lot of emotion to it.
You're talking about his personality coming through. You're not like a trance medium. You're not letting him take over you. You're just kind of copying the mannerisms that you're experiencing.
So like it's not that I'm a trans medium where my face changes, because some people are like, what's a trans medium? So my face won't change.
It's a medium that starts off as one gender and goes to the other.
Yeah. So I will
Caitlyn Jenner of mediums.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm coughing today.
It's probably my fault.
Yeah, thanks. So, but yeah, I will really pick up, when you think of a good friend of yours and you're like, oh my God, they're so funny. Like, you can just pick up their personality. Like, that's what it feels like. I'm like, I feel like I've known them. And so I'm just picking up their mannerisms, how they'd stand, how they'd act, how they'd talk, if they were really reserved or if they're really obnoxious here and crazy. So, yeah, it does transfer through that way.
This might be a loaded question. We have about 3 minutes left in the hour. When the show is over, is the show over? Do these spirits still try and reach? I know that you can kind of shut yourself off from it, but do you find that, okay, you connected with, Luke at one show, and then a week goes by before you have your next show, and then you open yourself up the next show, and boom, there's Luke again trying to send you more messages. Do you feel like that's the way, or is it kind of they go on with their loved ones to wherever their loved ones go?
Yeah, I don't ever feel like it's leftovers, that come in afterwards. It's like a whole new thing, like a new show. Like I go to one venue, I talk to them, and then they go with their loved ones. It's like they come to the show too, and they leave. But I definitely have had repeat loved ones on the other side come through, for a totally different person. There's the same guy that comes through all the time at my shows, and I won't realize it's him. And then all of a sudden, after 10 minutes of pulling through all this information, I'm like, wait a minute, this is John, isn't it? And they're like, yeah. So I don't always, they don't always tell me, hey, I'm this and that, because it's not clear like that.
I'm sure, too, that a lot of the times you're getting repeat people in the audience as well, like not spirit, but just the actual
Physical.
people sitting there. Yeah,
Yeah.
The living. They're also coming back again and again. So you're getting a lot of those same energies still with them, I would assume.
Yeah, I do. There is definitely a good amount that I will see and recognize in the crowd, but there's always new people every time, so it helps, So I'll tell them, I can sense their loved ones, and I know that they're stepping back to allow this new spirit to step forward, somebody who's never connected before. Oh God. Yeah.
Wow, you really. When they say Periscope, they mean like you're supposed to go up, not down. It's down Periscope. Well, we have about a minute left in this hour. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk more with our guest, Candace Dalton. We'll also take any calls you might have, questions about what she does at 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. You can also email us, spookycrew@spookysouthcoast.com. You can talk to us on Twitter using the hashtag SpookyLive. That's the best way to do it. We're going to just do a whole bunch of coughing during the news, too.
I don't know what happened. It's allergies.
Yeah, it's just the allergy season. That's the time of year.
It's Mercury retrograde.
And when we come back on the other side, too, we'll let you know about some events that are coming up. We'll find out what Candace has on her schedule, and also we'll let you know about some spooky South Coast-related stuff that's coming up as well. If you want to have a chance to come and experience the paranormal for yourself, well, next Saturday night, you can do it with us. And we'll let you know coming up after the break. And so many things going on in October. We're going to be in and out of this place so much, and pretty much every day is booked now from now until the end of the year. So we'll let you in on some of that stuff coming up in just a bit. But remember, you can watch what's going on Periscope, especially during the news. If you're enjoying it, you can follow at Medium Candace at Spooky SC. We'll be back.
New Bedford Talk. This is WBSM New Bedford, streaming worldwide on Radio Pop and WBSM.com.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. Pope Francis's U.S. visit is winding down. He's in Philadelphia for the World Festival of Families, a celebration of Catholic family life.
Pero lo más lindo
But the most beautiful thing
que hizo Dios,
that God did,
dice la Biblia,
says the Bible,
fue la familia.
was the family.
Earlier, in an address at Independence Hall, immigration was the subject, the pontiff telling recent arrivals.
Pueden ser
Do not
de
be
aquello
ashamed
que es parte esencial
of
de
that
ustedes.
which is a part of your
También están
lifeblood.
llamados a ser
You are also called
ciudadanos
to be
responsables.
responsible citizens.
Secretary of State John Kerry says the U.S. is taking steps to open a dialogue with Iran and others about the crises in Syria and Yemen.
I view this week as a major opportunity for any number of countries to play an important role in trying to resolve some of the very difficult issues of the Middle East.
Kerry speaking with reporters after speaking with his Iranian counterpart on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Saudi officials hitting back at Iran's criticism over the Hajj tragedy this past Thursday.
The Saudis had strong words for the Iranians here on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. The Iranians have been blaming Saudi Arabia for the tragic death of over 700 people at the Hajj pilgrimage Thursday, caused by a human stampede. Saudi Foreign Minister Adel al-Jubeir telling reporters the Iranians should, quote, know better than to play politics with such a sensitive issue. Justin Fischel, ABC News, New York.
They don't know the cause, but investigators looking into the fatal crash in Seattle between a duck boat and a charter bus say the left front axle of the duck boat was sheared off. Witnesses say the duck boat's left tire locked up as it swerved into the bus. 4 college students from different countries were killed. You're listening to ABC News.
Honey, I'm really worried about our retirement funds.
Oh, me too. We lost so much value in the recession in the stock market. I'm worried we won't have enough to retire.
Jim next door told me that he had set up a new kind of IRA with the Gold Silver Group. He said how simple and safe it was. It's a private storage IRA, and we could have real gold and silver in our hands.
Really? You mean we can actually see it and touch it?
Absolutely. Jim said we could have all the benefits of an IRA to help build our retirement income. Bottom line, we would own a real tangible asset, and we would have the security of knowing we're protected no matter what the economy does. What do you think?
I think we need to find out how to get our own private storage IRA. We need to call the Gold Silver Group right now.
Are you ready to protect your future? Call 800-295-6803 now to find out how easy and safe it is to set up a private storage IRA with Gold Silver Group, and find out how you can qualify for up to $700 in free silver. All transactions are privately delivered and fully insured. Please call us now. 800-295-6803. 800-295-6803.
For Canadian kids, playing street hockey is a rite of passage. So when police started dishing out tickets, it stirred up a hornet's nest. That story now from Toronto and ABC's Danielle Capelli.
We're about to be Every Canadian kid has done it. Hauled a net out onto a residential street and played hockey. When a car comes by, the kids haul the net out of the way. But in a Toronto neighborhood, bylaw officers started handing out tickets for leaving nets on city property. Residents were outraged. Even Toronto Mayor John Tory dumped on the idea.
What's next? I mean, are we going to have somebody moving that we should ban Halloween because kids walk along the sidewalks in the dark?
It remains to be seen if the bylaw officers will back down. Danielle Capelli, ABC News, Toronto.
In this country, students at 2 high schools in Worcester, Massachusetts are crying foul over the latest addition to the dress code. Here's ABC's Joan Bennett.
The policy banning hoodies in school was announced just a couple of days before the school year began at Burncoat and South High Community Schools. The school district safety officer says it's part of an effort to prevent violence. He cited a connection between hoodie sweatshirts and gang culture, but the kids say everybody wears them.
It's cold and the hoodie's comfortable and that's it.
Students from both schools circulated petitions calling on administrators to throw out the rule. The school board could make the final decision. Joan Bennett, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
What do Fortune 500 companies do when they need to find new workspace? They call Regis and 1-800-OFFICES. With Regis, you can easily expand today and get your people up and running tomorrow. With fully furnished tech-powered co-working spaces, offices, and admin support, Regis manages the details so you can focus on your business. Short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Regis makes it easy and affordable. Call Regis now at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
I'm Richard Cantu, ABC News.
From ABC News, Tech Trends, what exactly is a homebrew email server? There's been a lot of talk about emails sent from Hillary Clinton's private server while she served as Secretary of State. But what does that actually mean? ABC Technology Editor Alyssa Newcomb.
When you think of servers, sometimes you think of just these big refrigerator-sized machines and blinking lights and wires.
Quite the contrary, she says.
We're talking about something that's probably no bigger than the size of a desktop computer.
And having a homebrew email server is simply a matter of privacy. Rather than bouncing your messages to, say, Google servers, a home server cuts out the middleman, keeping your message completely private. But before you go thinking about getting one for yourself, Newcomb says while they're relatively inexpensive to set up, they do require quite a bit of technological know-how and upkeep.
Constant software updates.
In short, they're not for everybody. With Tech Trends, I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Remember when a small business needed a landline? Today, the world is your office with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. On the road, at the beach, or at home, Grasshopper helps you grow your business with all the features of a business phone system and the freedom of a cell phone. Features include multiple extensions for your team, calls forwarded to your mobile phones, voicemails transcribed and emailed, and so much more. See how it works at grasshopper.com. The entrepreneur's phone system.
A message from DAV to returning veterans. Thank you for doing your duty and doing our bidding. Thank you for stepping up and not backing down. Thank you for putting yourself in harm's way and putting your buddies' lives ahead of your own. Thank you for defending our freedom and displaying your honor. DAV thanks all veterans by fighting to get them the benefits and support they were promised. Visit DAV.org for free help. And again, thank you.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. You see me around the neighborhood, and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm 1 out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. We are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish and see what real value is. Call 877-249-6988. You can also save a bundle when you combine DishNet high-speed internet with your TV service. Call 877-249-6988. Programming starting as little as $29.99, plus access to thousands of movies and TV shows. Stream to your TV, smartphone, or tablet. Call 877-249-6988. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get Dish today.
It's time to stop smoking once and for all by attending the next
next Mark Patrick Hypnosis Seminar in New Bedford. In just 2 hours, you can finally become a lifelong non-smoker. Regardless of your past experience or how long you've been smoking, this program is designed so you can stop smoking without anxiety, irritability, or gaining any weight. For only $49.99, you can become a non-smoker through hypnosis. Thursday, October 15th at the Waypoint Event Center at the Fairfield Inn and Suites, 185 MacArthur Drive, New Bedford, from 8 to 10 p.m. Registration starts at 7:30. Seating is limited, so get there early to reserve your spot. All forms of payment are accepted. Or for more information, go to markpatrickseminars.com. Over 500,000 people have attended their program. Try it. It can work for you. Almost everyone knows someone who has stopped smoking using hypnosis. Now that someone can be you. Attend the Mark Patrick Seminar Thursday, October 15th at the Waypoint Event Center at the Fairfield Inn and Suites, 185 MacArthur Drive, New Bedford. And use the power of hypnosis to stop smoking now.
We are New Bedford, the new 1420 WBSM.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of Spooky Southcoast. Tim Weisberg along with Stephanie Burke. No silent assassin tonight. No silent survivor Matt Moniz.
Nope.
It's just us.
Just us.
With our special guest. Oh, I think somebody's phone is giving us feedback.
That's mine.
Oh, there you go.
That was weird.
I could
hear it earlier. That's why I kept moving it.
You know what's weird is that you come to recognize that sound. You know, like when you use electronic devices, you do radio, that kind of, you're like, oh, that sounds like cell phone interference. The worst part is when you can pick up that sound and you're not doing anything. You're like, sounds like cell phone interference.
Yeah.
And I actually was reading a story online earlier about a man who can hear Wi-Fi.
Really?
Like it gives him like a very weird frequency that he can actually hear when there's a Wi-Fi network running, which that would drive me crazy.
That. I can totally, if I have the TV running for a certain amount of time, I am literally exhausted. Like, I'm not just from watching, like, TV, even if I'm not watching, it's just on. I'm exhausted from all the ways it really bothers me.
One of the things that I think is a little strange when it comes to me anyway is, and this might be a problem that plagues us all as we get older, and we'll realize this in like 15 or 20 years, but I get like phantom phone vibrations, like in my pocket.
Yeah,
That's
a real thing.
My phone's not even in my pocket.
It's a real thing.
There's
an entire study on it, yes.
It's a medical thing now?
I have no idea, but it's a real thing. I think I hear my phone tweeting. It makes that tweet sound. So I go running in my room and there's nothing there. I hear my phone vibrate. What did you do? Now my brain's all screwed up. Because I'm... Didn't I tell you this was going to happen?
She sent you a mind bullet?
Yes. We'll get ice
Matt
cream.
Costa is going to be mad that he missed the mind bullets. You know how much he loves the mind bullets.
I wish people could see this right now.
They can on Spooky TV at SpookySouthcoast.com and also via Periscope.
They can't because I'm the one that's in charge of the damn cameras.
Via Periscope at Medium Candace.
She's blocking me because she can feel my energy. Oh, you're out of control. Tone it down. I don't remember what the hell it was. I'm putting the energy into the.
Well, we're talking about the phantom cell phone vibrations.
I can hear my phone vibrate, like, randomly. It won't happen, or I'll grab my phone as it's going to, like it's ringing or all the time.
Like, wow, it's almost like you're psychic or something.
I know, isn't that weird? So when the phantom ones happen, I get really pissed because nothing happens afterwards, and I don't know where it's coming from. And this phone in particular, since I've gotten it, will vibrate in my hand and go off if I'm on the phone, if I'm doing something. Nothing pops up. I don't know where it comes from. I've shut off like all notifications. It just constantly vibrates on its own.
No, see, mine's, I feel it in my pocket.
Yeah, I think
going
everybody
off.
does.
And I'm like, I don't have my phone in my pocket.
Right.
It's over there charging up.
That's crazy. But that's a thing. Yeah. I don't have my phone ever on vibrate. I used to, like when I was a teen, but
Not anymore. So it's all just.
She's like,
set.
now I'm an adult and I will take a call whenever I damn
I
well
put my
feel
phone
like
on
it.
silent a lot. I just put it on silent.
Oh, I never use
I
silent
just
on mine.
discovered the other day that you can do not disturb certain people's text messages.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Oh, I think I know the list already of people who are getting put
yeah.
on that. So
Absolutely.
including me. All right, well, we are talking with our guest, Candace Dalton, tonight. She, of course, is Medium Candace on Twitter, and you can follow her, and follow her on Periscope as well. Sundays now, that's the plan? You guys do something every Sunday, yourself and your sister?
Yeah, me and my sister, Anna Dalton. I think she's watching. Anna, if you're there, holla. Yeah, we started doing this thing, like, some sort of, like, Soul Sunday into the Soul. We haven't even figured out a name for it yet. We did it one Sunday. I was super hungover that day, so I was having a hard time. But I don't think it'll be every Sunday because there's always stuff going on. So I'm hoping at least once a month. But we were going to do, every Sunday. But she's very creative, very artistic, and so she does mandalas. You can draw. And then afterwards, I'll talk about, the spirit world and mediumship and, how you can connect to your angels and trying to think of more ideas in which you give me some good ideas and I wrote down on Post-it notes that are sitting on my table right now.
I feel like compelled every time my phone goes off and it says, Candace Dalton is live. Mm-hmm. I have to watch it because there's kind of that, don't take offense in this, there's kind of that train wreck factor. You have to kind of tune in and see exactly what's going on.
Well, when there's whips and nays involved.
There's whips, there's nays. There's been, there's still the whole...
Lucky Charm.
There's the Lucky Charm contest. How many can you fit in your mouth at one time?
The no pants dance.
I was going to say, there's still the bikini bottom controversy.
Right.
Okay, yes, I was wearing a bikini bottom. I didn't think, you put the phone down, but I just wasn't thinking, so I, backed away from the camera, and you can see me with no pants on. And then I went into my living room, and then I darted into my room, and you can see me run as fast as I can. My butt cheeks are out.
It is insane, by the way, how quickly she can move around that house when she's periscoping.
Yes.
It's like, she's like, oh, I'll be right back. And, as anybody listening now can tell, Candace is not a shy person.
No.
She's like, I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom. And then, she'll come back, in the blink of an eye.
Yes.
And I'd be like, did you wash your hands afterwards?
Well, honestly, my bladder is the size of the silly putty. I'm not even kidding. I've seen it on an ultrasound. So it peed in 5 seconds. It's psh, done. And then I wash my hands. So I really just go to the bathroom and wash my hands.
It's incredibly fast. But you never know what's going to happen. And there's a lot of fun. And
I feel like I've created a monster by inviting her to that premiere and introducing the two of
she
you.
had never seen the Periscope until we started Periscoping.
I created a Periscope monster. And not only that, now Tim is obsessed with watching the Periscope.
You know what? I think it's a compliment that you call me a train wreck because I am the most weird, awkward, hyper, just not shy person at all, and I like to make people laugh.
When I introduced you guys, I was trying to explain to Tim, she is my opposite, literally. But, we're so much alike. I'm like, she is wild.
Wild.
And he's like, really? I'm like, oh, yes. And then you started doing the worm and everything else.
Oh, yeah, the worm. There's, 2
promise.
people on the dance floor, and I'm doing the worm.
She was saying for many, many years, she's like, oh, you guys have to meet,
Yep.
We have to get her on the show, and you created another monster in that regard, too, because...
Well, didn't you say to Steph you should create a TV show for us, me and her?
I'm working on it.
You really should.
Are you really?
I'm working on it.
Seriously?
I have tons of ideas for different things.
Well, we know what goes on in that head of yours, but...
It's all clean.
Oh, I know, but...
Mostly. She said that very accusatory, that's why.
I just don't think you ever stop working. Your brain is constantly going with new ideas.
Well...
But the fact that you immediately... Because we always say all the time we should have a show because we're...
Oh, the stuff that happens to us
is ridiculous. We were at a restaurant once at Fireside in Middleborough.
Oh my God, this is
it's
the
in
best
the middle of
story
nowhere.
ever.
It's cement everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And we were sitting at a table.
Yeah,
and all of
twins?
Yeah.
Come on.
We were sitting at a table together. And there was this bird
On the
feeder.
same side, by the way, because we were there with somebody else, so we weren't on the date.
We were on the same
and
side.
right by the window.
Right
I
by the
hate
window.
when people are by themselves and they sit on the same side.
I know.
It's
That's
so
why I had
lame.
to that there was somebody else there.
I love you that much, but I wouldn't sit just
No,
next to you
me
for
neither.
no reason. So then there was a bird feeder, and we were just talking and chatting, and all of a sudden this huge cat comes out of nowhere and jumps and attacks the bird feeder and is swinging from the bird feeder.
And we both screamed at the top of our lungs. She jumped into my lap. I was holding on to her for dear life, and the entire restaurant looked at us.
It was awful.
But it was
great.
right outside our window, literally a foot away from us.
Funny part of that story, Stephanie took the cat home.
She
I
almost
tried.
did. She almost did. Let's go find the cat.
I did.
Oh,
My life.
I think all the time how lucky she is to have found somebody in her life so young, and to already be married and have a family, because I would really start to get worried if she was single for too long about just how many cats.
How do you feel
might be in
about
the
me?
house. But you're not a crazy cat person.
Have you watched me on Periscope?
You have a cat.
You have a cat.
But he's almost 19 pounds.
That's all right.
And so he is like 3 kittens.
That's okay.
Is it okay?
But you
I
don't
have problems. I'm 26
she wants to
and I
take home
love
every
my
cat that she sees.
It's so true.
It's bad where Candace is out and she sees stray cats and she tries to capture them, and then she thinks, what am I going to do with this? I have to call Steph.
I did, and I was like, I'm about to bring him to her house.
Yeah.
So
she's kind of just
I'm,
as bad as me.
I'm coming up with this idea for a show about you guys. It's kind of like, have you seen Hoarders, where they find like the dead cats in people's houses?
Stop it, mine will all be alive.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
I would have more cats.
How'd we get on this subject?
I was allowed. I don't know.
I think that we should have like one night of just talking about the most random stuff.
We call those Spooky Southcoast Backyard Podcasts.
Really?
Yes, you're going to have to come by and do one of those. We're going to have to set one up here. We have all this crazy fall stuff happening. Yeah, we all get together, we drink heavily, and we record a podcast. It's
awesome.
ridiculous.
This is my kind of podcast.
Yep.
And it's funny because the first
I'm not
time
an alcoholic.
the first time we ever did it, it was our first, like within our first 6 months of being on the air, we did our first one, and we started drinking and having a goofy time. But as most of the time when you drink too much, everything turned real serious a little bit later on, and it turned into this whole "I'm here for you, I love you, let's talk about our experiences."
Let's get all deep and emotional.
Yeah, but in the end, it's still one of our most legendary episodes. So we're
I'm
gonna
totally
have to definitely
in.
find one.
So meet our new co-host, Candace Dalton.
I think it'll be pretty epic, and we actually owe. There are some people who donated to our last big GoFundMe drive.
Right.
That we actually owe them the chance to come up and be part of a backyard podcast.
We need to not do this while it's snowing out.
No, we'll do it.
Why
before
don't
then.
we? We'll just I'll bring sleeping bags and stay here and.
Oh no, we don't do it here.
Oh,
we literally do
get
it
fired.
in the backyard.
We would get fired if we the way
we talk.
The first one that we did it in my backyard, and
backyard podcast. Yes, okay, that makes sense.
I set my grill on fire.
Did you really?
Yes. So
what did Jen think of that?
She was fine with it. We put the fire out.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
It wasn't like it didn't engulf the house or anything. So we'll definitely work on one of that. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on coming up. And one thing we want to let everybody know that we won't be on the air next Saturday night because there's a Spooky Southcoast event happening at the Ferring Tavern in Wareham, Mass. There's 4 historic buildings. There's the Ferring Tavern, built in 1690. There's the Old Methodist Meeting House, the Union Chapel, and the one-room schoolhouse. Those were all built in the 1800s. And we will be having just like a regular Legend Trips event, but Jeff is otherwise booked. He can't be there, so we're not calling it officially a Legend Trips event. But we're going to give you dinner. We're going to give you a lecture, not like give you a lecture like, when I was your age. We're going to give you a discussion and a presentation on the paranormal, and then we will set you loose for hours of guided investigation in these 4 historic buildings. And Stephanie, one of our first Legend Trips that you came on with us as part of the staff and not as an attendee, was at the Ferring Tavern, and we put you to work in the Methodist Meeting House, and you were making connections in there.
I think that might have been the first one, my first official one. My first unofficial was Slater Mill.
Right. You were actually coming to help out with kind of administrative stuff. And then we're like, but you have abilities, so you're here. Why don't you utilize those?
So, yeah, that was the first one. That was actually the night that I predicted the Red Sox were going to win the World Series. And Jeff didn't believe me.
And that was the year that it happened?
Yes, and I was at the game when they won.
Really?
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
And then...
with a Ouija board, by the way.
What? I've never used a Ouija board.
What?
I'm scared of that, too.
I normally have one in the truck, but I don't have one in there today.
Really? That's for a reason.
The meeting house, though, when you were in there, you were table tipping.
Yes.
And it actually got a little personal for one of our investigators that night, too, right?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I think somebody's dad came through.
Okay.
And there was that connection that was made. Remember Jeff being skeptical of it, and he walked away a little less skeptical of it, we'll say.
Well, yeah, he caught his first EVP ever.
And then you had an experience in the one-room schoolhouse in the back area that used to be the post office with something kind of negative, right?
Right.
So all of that will be potentially happening for you on Saturday night. There are still tickets available. They're $99. You can get them at SpookySouthcoast.com. Just go to our website there, and you will see the slide come up for Gateway Ghosts. And I'm going to give you an open invite to come to one of these events sometime if you want to. But
yeah.
I know that it freaks you out a little bit.
No, you know what? I'm becoming a little bit like I'm open to it. I just would want like at least 50 people around me while we do it.
I would like 50 people around you if you were coming to this one next Saturday night, because sales have been a little slow. So
really,
we're trying to raise money for the Wareham Historical Society.
Well, let me see what I can do. I might have my good friend's birthday, but if not,
No, I don't mean you have to come. I'm just saying I would like to have 50 people at this event.
Oh, 50. I mean like you guys. Like if a gun's not going to help, keep a ghost away, at least I want 50 physical people around.
Yeah, in this place, I've found that most of the connections that we've made are positive.
Okay, cool.
We've had a lot of good experiences, a few negative. We have that one EVP that basically admits to murder, admits to having killed the grandfather, but
Wow. See, that was interest to me. So I will do it sometime and just have a drink and I'll be okay.
I would love to if we're gonna
teach you many things.
If we're gonna take you into one of these places and actually throw you into the paranormal fire, it probably would be best if we did it not in a giant group.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way, there,
That can get a little bit
if
more
you need to
open.
change your pants, you won't feel so self-conscious about it.
I wouldn't care at all. I would tell everybody I peed my pants.
She would.
I would show everybody I peed my pants.
She would.
That would be like a good promotional thing.
Yeah.
Like just put a meme up of her, like standing there, like, I was so scared at legend trips, I peed my pants.
Yes, totally.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so just to jump back into the discussion about what it is that you do and utilizing your abilities, and now you had mentioned that your Aunt Maureen is a medium, and for those who don't know, it's Maureen Hancock, who people have seen around here for quite a while doing her shows, and she's done a lot with this station. What's it like, though, when you're around the family and you all have this ability? Are you all ever trying to, I don't want to say compare, but kind of just, kind of compare and contrast how each person makes those connections? Is it something that you openly talk about the way that you prepare yourself and the way that you go about doing this job?
It's funny. The only thing that we ever do when we're all together is if there was one time I went to, I don't know, it was like Thanksgiving or Easter, and I was upset about something, and I put on the best poker face that I could give, and as soon as you walk in, there's my cousin Stasha, there's Maureen, there's my grandmother, there's my dad, and they just do give you a shot of a look, like I know something's up, and they all come flocking, and then that's when the tears start. So I mean, we never, if anything, I think we're just enjoying being with one another. It's like when you're done with, not that I feel that this is work or a job, but when we're with each other, we just, I don't know, we just be with each other. We're just humans and normal people.
Right.
But we definitely, we'll talk about things that have happened or readings we've done that were really good, or even if things come along that, somebody sent you a nasty email or whatever, we'll talk about it too. And, that's just the support that we give each other. And so, but most of the time you just go there and chill and hang out. But
see, because I would be maybe it's because I'm such a person that wants to kind of break everything down that happens. I would want to be like, well, how, is there something that we all have, some sort of connection amongst us all that makes it this way, besides just heredity, and I'd be trying to figure out all those little nuances and differences to the point that the rest of the family would probably stop telling me. They'd be like, oh, I lost that gift now. Just leave me alone. But it's the same thing with you guys, and now I know that you're both studying with James Van Prague and taking courses with him.
School starts tomorrow.
So the same thing happens though when you're doing that. You're kind of comparing and contrasting with each other, right? You're kind of workshopping. That's probably the word I'm looking for. Is workshopping with each other. So you don't really workshop with the family and seeing how they all make those connections and basically try to coach one another up a little bit.
I mean, we definitely did in the beginning. So when I was 19, I'll be 26 in 3 weeks. That was a big thing because Maureen totally coached us and helped us understand the tools that we had our gifts, but we were like, what the hell do we do with these? I probably just swore 50 times already. But so we definitely went to her a lot for guidance. And, Stasha and I would go back and forth with each other, what we thought about this, what we think about that. We would do shows together just to have each other's support. And then once we got more comfortable, we were able to branch off and do our own thing. For sure, we definitely leaned on one another. And I even attended my aunt's, classes. So I really started to read up on different books. And, Maureen was also a big, kind of portal for other people that I need to go to do body work, like, Reiki or Shiatsu and all these different things. So she has totally been like the control center that has helped me definitely the beginning of my adventures of starting the healing messages from above.
Do you find that it amplifies your gift, or that it kind of helps it to grow when you surround yourself with other people that have the abilities? Or do you find that, it's going to happen anyway it's more about learning about yourself than it is kind of surrounding yourself with others? Like if you went away to, all right, say you play baseball and you go to baseball camp for the summer, you come back a much better baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and surround yourself with other people that have the gift, does it open yours up a little bit more, just being around that type of energy?
Definitely. I mean, so for instance, when we took the James Van Prague course, even if it's just online, just being with all these other people taking the course, it totally made me even more excited. It definitely shaped me even more as a medium, just because I learned a lot from that, and I can't wait for tomorrow's mediumship school to start. When I'm around a lot of people who have the same gift, it's actually overwhelming to me, where I actually shut down because the energy is too much, which I'm still trying to teach myself how to. I've gotten a lot better of grounding myself and not having my energy turn on, but if I'm around, a group of 10 mediums, my energy's on like the whole time. When we were on the Ricky Lake show, we went to her house afterwards. There was me, Maureen, Stasha, my Auntie Rosie, James Van Prague, and the whole time I just felt so not grounded because there was so much energy going on. So it actually kind of drains me, if anything. It definitely helps me. I love to learn from other people and see what their thought process is, what they think about certain things, their beliefs, all that jazz. But I don't know. It's a 50-50 for me.
Do you ever push yourself or train yourself by turning it on at different times? And, not turning it on like it's something like a light switch, but do you ever kind of tune in when you're, like, say you go to the mall?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever just try and open yourself up just so that you can practice blocking out certain energies and only really accepting others?
Yeah, I did that actually. For a while, I would go to the mall. Good one. You must be psychic.
Either that or I'm like, oh, you're girls. You like to shop. Where you probably go to the mall, right?
That or I'll shop online.
So it's not really. I'm either psychic or I'm sexist. One of the two.
So yeah, no, I would definitely do that, and I would do that at even on vacations. So I went to the Grand Canyon, and I went to Cancun, went to all these different places. I can't rattle them off right now, but I was like, can I turn it on out here? Can I turn it on down in Mexico? Can I turn it on in the Grand Canyon? And it was like even amplified even more, I think, because I was just being I'm always myself, but just in a whole nother environment. So. Pretty cool.
Well, I think it's awesome that you can utilize your gifts in other places like that, but just do us a favor. Don't utilize it on the plane when you're going to those other places. I don't ever want you to stand up in the middle of a flight and be like, I'm hearing voices. Because I think that would probably not go well.
Honestly, the whole time I'm on a plane, I'm just praying that St. Michael and everybody that I've called upon is holding up the plane and is going to land me safely. So trust me.
See what she's like on a plane.
Yeah. Well, the last time Stephanie and I were on a plane,
we shouldn't be allowed anywhere together. We've told you this already.
Yeah. Well, first I take Dramamine before.
I'm already starting to second guess having you both here tonight. I'm just kidding.
So, my phone's, never mind, ADD, but I take Dramamine before flights. I'm already loopy as is, and then we got the True Blue, whatever, the blue chips for JetBlue, and I'm trying to open it, and Stephanie's like, give me that, and she's trying to open it. Her husband snatches the bag out of her hands and just finds the little tear and opens it right up, and
but
we're like,
he watched us for a good 10 minutes
before
first.
he even helped.
Yeah, he'll watch you try to twist off a beer bottle top and then come at you with the bottle open and be like, it's this kind.
Well,
right.
I know how to open a beer bottle.
I know, but I was utilizing that as kind of an example.
No. It's like a big old science
Like he likes to watch you struggle and then
if Candace and I are together and he's anywhere within like a 10-mile radius, he's wishing he's in 20 miles.
Easily. No, he secretly loves it.
Yeah,
He really
he
does.
does. Of course.
And
But-
we call him Mr. Potato Head, but I was talking about, because I love blackheads and pimple popping. And I
no.
said that to Stephanie, and he just darted a look at me, and he was like, don't even. That's all Stephanie talks about. She wants to pop pimples.
That's one of the weirdest things that I've ever heard anybody say, let
Love
alone
it.
two people.
Oh my God, go on
feel that way.
Instagram and
You don't have enough time in the world to get to know how weird we are right now. But when
somebody said ew on my Periscope. My phone's gonna die too. I love you guys.
When,
I gotta cancel it out.
when
Follow Spooky Southcoast.
he's with us,
SpookySouthcoast.com/SpookyTV. You can watch the show there.
SpookySouthcoast.com/SpookyTV and watch us. And you can see us live in here. Okay. Love yous. Bye. Sorry, I had to shut that.
That's all right. We're on the cutting edge here of periscoping at the same
Right.
time while doing radio.
Completely.
So when he's with us, or when he at least met Candace, he realized that there was two of me, and it just became one large, strange, happy family. So we feel bad for him sometimes, but we know, like, if Candace is coming over, we're totally torturing Brendan.
Oh, it's awesome. We love it.
Yep.
You know, Brendan secretly loves it.
I'm sure he does.
He does. Like, he acts like he's annoyed, but he really loves it.
Right.
So you're saying he's definitely invited to the podcast?
Oh,
to
yeah.
All right. I hope so, because I want him to be involved.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Yes, I want him drinking, and I want him to be involved. We have breaking news here
Breaking
with the
news.
paranormal awards being dished out here.
Oh, I already sent that to you.
Yeah,
I was trying not to be fresh on air.
Well, I want to give out this breaking news right now. The winner of the Paranormal Awards for Paranormal Film Award 2015 is the Bridgewater Triangle documentary.
Oh, yeah?
Directed by Aaron Cadieux, Manny Familare. Producers Aaron Cadieux, Kristen Cadieux, and Manny Familare. So congratulations to them
Yes.
on winning the Paranormal Award, which is given out by a person.
Yes, one person.
Yes. But we'll definitely have to talk with him about that the next time that we have them
Were
on the
we
show.
not nominated for Best Radio Show like always?
I don't think that we were, no, which is fine. We don't do this for awards.
No, we don't, but I just think the Paranormal Awards are so funny.
We do this, and I'm trying not to bash on the paranormal world this weekend, but it's getting harder and harder not to because everybody's driving me crazy this weekend with all this stuff. This should be a time that everybody's coming together, and they're getting further and further apart. So I don't want to dig too much into that. But one of the things that we talked about off here before we started the show is the different ways that people are making connections now.
Mm-hmm.
That you have your abilities and gifts, both of you, but other people are trying to do the same thing through technology. Do you find that? I mean, I know this is something, Candace, that you hadn't even heard of till I was telling you about it earlier.
Right.
But Stephanie, you've seen some of these things in action. Do you feel like people are becoming too reliant on trying to find a technological way to communicate with those who have moved on when they could probably train themselves to do it on a personal level instead?
I think people are trying to reach out and find any way to connect at this point in time, just because everybody's more open-minded to it. But I don't think they realize that you could easily make a connection through someone like us, or you could train with someone. But I feel weird about that. Candace, I don't know how you feel about it. I know you teach classes as well, but I tell everybody you're not going to wake up and be Maureen Hancock. You're not going to wake up and be James Van Praagh. It takes years and years of studying.
Mm-hmm.
Candace and I are still studying.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell everybody all the time when they say, I want to be you, I want to be just like you, I want to do this, I tell them, okay, great. If you want to, go home and think about it, and like seriously take time to think about it, because once you open that door, you can't close it, and you have to dedicate like serious time to it, because like, yes, it's fun to try, but it's a real thing.
And like what you said, you're not going to just, I tell people all the time, and when I started teaching classes again this year, I said, you're not going to walk into the gym and walk out with the abs and arms and butt you want. You have to continuously go. You have to nurture your body. You have to do all these things and really be disciplined upon it. And so that's what I tell them about classes as well, is that you have to really be disciplined and take your time and be patient.
There's a lot of, just as much as there's a lot of investigators who go out and invest $1,000 worth of equipment and decide that they should be on television, there's probably a lot of people who make their first, connection, their first mediumship connection, and be like, okay, now I can go stand on stage in front of 500 people and charge admission for this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And at what point did you feel, Candace, like you were ready? I know that you talked about, doing shows with your aunt and being around other people who have the gift, but at what point did you feel like you were ready to let the world know that this is what you do, this is what you go through on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think I was ready. I mean, I don't know. So when I was 19, I started doing group readings and private readings, and that was like very comfortable for me. But then when I realized, like when I started doing groups of 20 people, that I could get to more people in just one room, that was, I mean.
So you're talking about because I think if I remember right, you said you were like around 9 when they told you what was going on.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So there was a good decade there where you weren't, it wasn't like as soon as they told you this is what it is and you realized, oh, this is what I can do, that you were out there doing it for other people. It took you a long time of being able to.
Yeah, it took me a long time to actually just realize, so me and my cousin Stasha would do shows together, and then when I realized that when we were starting to advance, that we both wanted to get in at the same time and read people, and we were both getting the same things, it started to become difficult. So that's when we were both totally fine with just kind of going our own ways. And once we started doing at least for me, once we started doing my own show, then I realized that I was ready to just do that, and that's all I do full time. Let go of the cosmetology world and move forward. So.
But if somebody still feels like, that's where they need help more than spiritually, you could make them look a lot better too. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
All right. Good.
My mom wanted me to open a salon that said hair on after.
That's funny.
That's pretty awesome.
Isn't that really good? So you could do readings and hair. I was like, Mom, it doesn't work that way. But that would be a great idea.
People would be coming
hair
out
on after.
Haircuts.
But hair on after. Isn't that a good one?
Right now, there's somebody out there
that's going to steal that and then make millions of dollars. Yeah.
Yes. So you just remember, download the podcast, save it, so that you can go into court and claim it as your intellectual property.
Okay.
I think that would work.
You sound like my dad.
I'm just wondering. No, but I'm just thinking there's probably somebody out there right now that is feeling like they have something similar to what you went through. Where they feel like there's something around them all the time and they don't understand what it is. So I think it's important to let people know that. Don't feel like you have to understand it right away. Mm-hmm. There's no shame in questioning what it is and needing to know more.
Mm-hmm.
And people always ask me when they say, okay, I think I had an experience with a ghost and I want to learn more. How can I do that? I have no problem rattling off a list of books they should read or people they should pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have people that you recommend to those who take classes with you to say, okay, go out and buy this book or watch this DVD or go see this person live? Is there people that you recommend that others look into?
Absolutely. So it'll range from bodywork to books to mediums and psychics. So with bodywork, I always tell, go see this. I see this woman named Wanda for Reiki, and she's absolutely incredible. So I tell them, if you need Reiki, because you need to balance your body like that, your body is your foundation, your chakras are your foundation to connecting. And, if those aren't balanced, then you're not balanced, and that's not going to be balanced on the other side. So, with that's what I'll recommend. I started off reading Sylvia Brown books, James Van Prague books, and, going on even YouTube and you have to find the right ones, though. But there's definitely some interesting YouTube videos you can find of other people, talking about, the spiritual world and things like that. So you can get really a good sense of what others think and feel and see and everything else.
Is Wanda like a stage name?
No, her name's
like Wanda. I do Reiki. My name's Wanda.
Wanda, right? I call her my fairy godmother because she really is incredible.
And you mentioned Sylvia Brown, which I suppose I shouldn't let the mention go without questioning. I think Sylvia Brown's a good moral lesson for people who do this, that eventually you need to learn to say when I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not getting anything. You need to be able to say, know at some point, really.
I agree with you because she would burn herself out. But like her books were really interesting and things triggered with me as a kid because I remember, for instance, after my cousin Sean passed away, I had this dream that he brought me up to this beautiful, big, like Romanesque looking building with marble staircases and brought me to the very top. And there was people all lounging and relaxing, ferns everywhere, like white, curtains that looked very Romanesque looking. And soon after, I started reading her books because that's what I turned to for comfort of being able to talk to Sean and also trust my gift. And there was a part where, when you first pass over to the other side, you go and review your life. And it's this big building with marble staircases and it's Romanesque looking and ferns. And so that was a confirmation for me that what I was dreaming really was real. It wasn't just a dream because Sean was standing right next to me and it was very, very comforting.
Because I was never shy on this show in giving my opinions of Sylvia Browne, and I once said Sylvia Browne was a terrible medium, and somebody wrote back to me in an email and said, no, Sylvia Browne was a really good medium. The problem is she was a very bad television guest because she didn't know when to say no, and she didn't know when to say I can't do that for you right now, and she didn't know when to say I'm not feeling it. And I've noticed that since there has been more of a spotlight put on people that have abilities, that more people feel comfortable saying, if I'm listening to somebody on Coast to Coast AM, for example, and they're doing readings, and they don't have a problem with saying, I'm sorry, caller, I'm just not really picking up anything for you right now,
Totally.
as opposed where nobody would say that in the past before.
Yes, absolutely. There's even, at the end of my shows, I'd say, my energy's starting to, wire down. I'm starting to fart out, and people they get it because after like 2.5 hours of reading, they see that I'm starting to drain. And I said, I must be sizzling out a little bit, so I'm going to just end it here and hugs from the other side.
How is your energy level now?
It's kind of high right now. Can you tell?
Well,
can you see it? Well, Stephanie can tell.
No, I really can't tell
That's
because
why,
this is every time I've seen you now, this is how you are. It's just been different types of energies, I've party atmosphere, having fun, goofing around, but I can tell like you're kind of amped up right now. And
I am because on my pee break, I was meditating a little bit, and that's why it took me so long. So some of my Periscope people are like, wow, that was a long pee.
For you,
but,
for a normal person, it was still perfectly fine.
Yeah,
it was also a long hallway.
It was a very long hallway, but
also she was walking very trepidatiously down the hallway because we have ghosts.
Yeah, I totally have ghosts. Like that light's probably gonna go back on any minute.
It definitely will.
And then, but when you asked me a question, like I don't know, 10 minutes ago, and I was like, and I stopped talking, you were like, let me just repeat the question again. It's because my energy's turning on where I can't multitask sometimes because I'm feeling things and then I forget what the heck kind of question you asked me. So that's why I kind of like stopped talking.
That's perfectly fine because I probably forgot what I asked you.
No, you were good. You kind of like brought it back to life.
You got lucky that I remembered that time.
Yeah, you did. I did.
Well, what do you think? Do you want to try and?
Yeah, let's try it. I mean, reading. So for me, reading over the radio, it's very different for me. I like to be in front of somebody, to have them physically before me, because then I can see and sense energy. But I feel like, why not? This is if it's going to help somebody tonight, and if my energy's on, let's do it.
So we generally like to throw out a little bit of ground rules for people when we do this. What would be your ground rules for somebody calling in?
So when they call in, all I need is their first name. I don't want them. I'll ask them if I want them to tell me who they like to connect with. But I really would rather try to just hear their name and hear their voice and connect to their loved ones. Not feed me too much information, because I would like to give them information. I'll ask them to elaborate on what something means, and just yes or no's if they understand it. I'll ask them also to keep in mind that things might not make sense right away because we're connecting over the phone and maybe they're overwhelmed or maybe I'm, feeling all this different energy. But yeah, so pretty simple. Just hang on the phone, relax. As calm as they are, as relaxed as they are, I'm able to connect.
Well, the phone lines, of course, are lighting up. I haven't even given out the numbers yet.
Really?
And
how many?
People, the phone lines are full.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. Nope. All the phone lines are full. Yes. You can see the blinking lights for yourself.
So you tell us when you want to stop. How does that sound?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'll probably just do a couple minutes and do what I can. And
okay.
Well, Tim's really good at okay, cool. That.
Because
part.
we only have about...
I'm pretty good about cutting it out.
There's only about 13 minutes left in the show anyway.
Oh, all right, cool.
So,
So when you're done with each one, but when you're done altogether, you let us know.
yeah, you because I still have plenty of questions that I can ask, and if you'd rather do that at any time.
Okay, cool.
We're not here to make you dance for us, monkey. You ready?
I'll do the worm. Yeah, I'm ready.
Dance, monkey. Good evening. You're on Spooky Southcoast with Candace Dalton.
Good evening, Candace, and congratulations of getting your scholarship.
Thank you so much. And what's your name?
My name is Lois.
Hi, Lois. Is this Stephanie's mother?
Yes, it is.
Okay, this is so funny that you're on the because this whole time before Stephanie even showed up, I kept feeling this grandmother presence when you were talking to me. You probably saw my eyes kind of going weird.
Just because I'm so dreamy with my
yeah. And I kept saying, I'm like, is this like? And I was gonna say, is your grandmother passed? But it didn't feel right. I was like, it must be Stephanie's grandmother. And then here you are on the phone line. This is awesome. She seriously was here before Stephanie even got here. I think she just wanted to save her seat and warm it up for her. But definitely, I think she was trying. Maybe she really likes Tim and thinks he's a cutie and wants to flirt with him a little bit.
Everybody thinks Tim is a cutie.
He is a little cutie. So, but it's really funny because her presence is so, even when I'm around Stephanie, her presence is so broad and so loving, and it's just like open arms. So, your dad's also passed as well, correct?
Yes.
Because when I see her standing next to her husband, and she's kind of pulling him in a little bit. Even though she's the speaker, he's standing beside her. And so there's also another male standing behind her. Is her brother also passed as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your uncle's standing there with her, and so she's letting me know. I'm just asking her, show me who you're with, because I want there to be comfort of knowing, who's around. So she's just pulling in all these different people. I also see, oh God, she's saying there's a lot of us, you'll get confused. So I think that there's a lot of extended family as well. So, okay, your mom is totally, right now, especially, I feel as though there's things that have been going on with you lately that she's kind of winking to me, maybe emotionally or whatever it is, but she said, I'm with you. And I think that even though you pray to her every single day, you have to know that she truly does hear you. So maybe there's some emotional stuff going on right now that maybe you just don't speak of to anybody else, but she's letting you know, I hear you and I'm with you. So, and now, is there this is weird, is Glenda a first name?
Linda?
Glenda or it's a different GL name for a female. I don't know what GL is, but I know maybe it's like I don't know what this is, but hold on to it. What was that?
Would it be Dimmy?
Gimme. Who's Gimme?
Dimmy.
Oh, Dimmy? Mm-hmm. Who's Dimmy?
Dimmy is someone who was like my aunt.
Ah, okay. Because
has passed.
Okay, so when she said to me, it's going to get confusing because there's a lot of us on the other side, and when she said that, she said, yes, I have my biological brother here, but I saw another female, but she stepped back for a minute because your mom popped back in because she had to tell you that she hears your, what's going on emotionally for you. I think that was more important for her to talk about. And of course, she sees the baby, she sees everybody. And and she's proud of you of how much you've grown too. That's a huge thing. And so I think and so okay, give me 1 second here. So and I also your mom's saying now was she sick before her passing too?
Yeah, she had lung cancer.
Okay, because I just pointed to my chest because I don't know if you heard me breathing. I was like, wow, why is it hard for me to breathe right now? So she pointed to my chest. I think you really took care of her, really looked after her, and she's so grateful for you. And who's okay, and there's a lot of females on the other side, but maybe this is the woman who's like an aunt, but there's somebody a little bit younger that may have passed around 50, 53. There's somebody very young that passed, and again, I feel like this is a breast cancer connection or something that spread up to the brain and metastasized. Do you understand a friend of yours, or would you understand somebody?
Marianne, yes.
Marianne, is this a good friend of yours?
Yes, she was.
Okay, did you guys work together?
No, she worked with my husband.
Oh, she worked with your husband. Okay. So I wish I had a printer hooked up to my head. I say this all the time because when I said I was going to say, is this somebody's wife? Or I kept seeing, your husband. I'm like, maybe it's his friend's wife. I don't know who it is. So worked with your husband. So she's definitely coming through. She's a riot. She's kind of like, I almost want to swear a little bit because she's kind of like a straight shooter. And so I'm just trying to keep it, PG. Yeah, I'm trying to keep the F-bombs down and the S's and whatever else. So, but but she really is a hot ticket. So, okay.
Well, I'm gonna just move it along.
Okay, yes.
Not to disconnect when you make any
Perfect.
connection.
I forget
but
we only have 13 minutes, but
and
thank
there's
you
some
so
other
much for
callers.
calling in.
Well, thank you. So good of you to do what you do, and love you to bits as usual.
Thank you. Love you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll try and go through. And I'm keeping an eye on how long each call's on for. So
Yeah,
we'll just
go for
try
it.
and get,
I'll keep that in mind,
We'll
too.
try and get through all the calls that we can. Good evening. You're next on Spooky South Coast with Candace Dalton.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, and what's your name?
Mike?
Mike. Hey, Mike. Hang on, say Mike again.
Mike.
Okay. Okay, I thought you were, it sounded like my friend Mike's voice. I was like, he's probably screwing with me right now.
No.
Okay, Mike. So, all right. So I do have a strong male presence. Before you even said, I was like, this is going to be a male next. I know it. I can feel it. So I was just trying to disconnect from Lois's loved ones. They're like, I almost have this pit in my stomach as if maybe somebody just passed recently. But there's somebody that's trying to come through or you have not connected to yet. So there's a really strong man. Is there a father or a father-like figure that's passed for you?
No.
Okay, so keep this in mind because there is an older male that's I can feel right now that's standing over me that's just trying to connect to you. So this could be like a grandfather who's like a dad, that sort of thing, that really looked after you. And I also, okay, give me 1 minute because, gosh, do you have a lot of activity in your house too? Do you have a lot that goes on? A lot of almost like you get yeah.
No, not really.
Well, that's good. Okay, so, because I wouldn't want that. Okay, so I do have I do have a young male here, too, to the side of me. So, whoever this male is, but there's somebody who's just a really, really strong male. Who are you looking to connect with?
My grandmother.
Okay, so hold on to this, too, because maybe this is another caller who might be coming in where there's a young male that's to the side of me, and this feels like more of like a very freak accident. So I'm going to hold on to that. That might be somebody else's. Your grandmother. So, okay, 1 moment. Now, has it been some time since her passing as well?
Yes.
Okay, so she waved me on, so I'm like, all right, let's connect to Mike's grandmother, and as soon as I connected with her, I felt this presence of peace. You know, she's like the peacemaker. Let me get you some food. What can I do for you? What can I get for you? And so when it comes to you, you're like her favorite, so don't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
But you guys have such a close connection, and I feel like she would even like, she loved you. She still loves you so much. I feel like her hugs you miss incredibly, and so I feel like maybe she hugged you right around your, I don't know. I just feel like now you would be taller than her. I don't know if it's just been some time, like, I don't know, has it been 10 years? How long has it been since her passing?
Yeah, about 15 years.
Okay, I'll take it, because she said he was a little bit younger when I, passed, but I just feel like she's hugging you right around your waist. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Would that make sense?
Yes, it would.
Okay, just because I see her little cute hands wrapping around your waist, and she's letting you know she's here. This might be, is her husband passed as well?
Yes.
Okay, so that might have been the grandfather coming through because she would allow that to let your grandfather come in. Is this your mom's mom who's passed?
Yes.
Okay, because she said say hi to mom. So if you could say hi to your mom, that would be so great. And I think that'll give her some comfort. Were you not able to be there when she passed?
Right.
Okay. She's like, let it go. I wouldn't have let you watch me pass because she just said that would have been too much. You've done enough for me. The things that she left behind, I think there were some things that you may have taken that nobody really knows about, that it's hers. And it's not a bad thing. It's not like you just snatched her diamond ring or anything. But there's stuff that she knows that you took, and she's glad that you have it.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
know that
Yep.
she is, with you. She loves you so much. Keep calling upon her and watch for those red cardinals. So thank you so much for calling in, Mike.
Okay,
All right,
thank you so much.
Have a great night. I think we have time for maybe one more because we want to make sure that we give Candace a chance to let everybody know where they can come out and see her next. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast.
Good evening. I just want to congratulate you also, Candace, and my name is Pam.
Hi, Pam. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Look, she just knows what to do. Pam. My name's Pam. All right, Pam. All right, give me 1 minute here. I just need to know, would you understand of the young male just because there was a young male standing here before on the last caller? So I just have to ask because it might just be lingering. Maybe it's for Tim or something.
No, it's not for me. I
Okay.
don't know the young man, no.
That's perfect. Good. I just need to ask just because then I can disconnect from that spirit for a moment. Okay. Is your mom also passed?
Yes, she is.
Okay, because I said, all right, Pam's loved ones, come on in. So your mom was first in line. Here she is, and maybe she got you through on the last call, maybe because you need it. Is there a birthday coming up for you? Or somebody that's just passed, or there's something?
No, my birthday's not until January. I have a sister that I'm going to go visit in Georgia. Her birthday's coming up October 8th.
Oh, awesome. And are you going to visit her before her birthday?
Yes.
Awesome. So will you say hello and happy birthday to your sister from your mom?
I will.
Because she does not miss birthdays. You know, that's her big thing. Like, she wants to make sure everybody's day is special. Mom here, I feel like she just got like an overwhelming sense of like, I wish I told you how much I loved you even more and even more and even more. So
Well, it's true because she departed, not in death, but she left my family when I was 7.
Okay, that makes so much sense because all of a sudden I got this overwhelming feeling of like I just wanted to start crying. And so this is her way of telling you that she loves you so much and that she's sorry. And I know that you have this different relationship with her on the other side now. I think that there was a lot of things going on. She keeps pointing to her head, so she's winking to me because she is private, but maybe you'd understand that. There's a lot of things that she did and she didn't want to. First, she just like spoke over me again. You're not crazy, is what she wants you to know, and that even though your mother, she means well, she's just like a kind of a new spirit in this world, but that you don't have the things, some of the characteristics that she had. So you have to know that, and you're a great person, and she is too. She's had her stuff. Do you have children as well?
I have a son.
Okay, because she said you're doing fabulous, and so but I think that is her way of just immediately she has to go right to that, just so know that she loves you, that she didn't mean to leave, but she's still your mom and she cares very much about you. So watch for hearts as a big sign. That'll be from her. So thank you so much, Pam, for calling.
And thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We are officially out of time. We have about a minute left. How can everybody follow you and where can they find you?
So my website is CandaceDalton.com. It's CANDACE. Some people like to do it with an I. You can also follow me on Facebook. I have a Facebook fan page that they can like. I do have another Facebook page, Candace Dalton Spirit Medium, but I like to stay focused on the fan page, and I really stay connected there. I'm also on Twitter, Medium Candace. I'm on Periscope, Medium Candace. If you forget my name, just Google my name, Candace the Medium, and it'll pop back up. And so I have a lot of upcoming shows in October and December. I have a lot of shows as well. So they're healing messages from above, and they're limited to about 30 people usually.
Excellent. Well, we thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we can have you back again real soon.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime.
Awesome.
And we'll be back, not next week, and then I think we'll be back the week after that. This is how it goes in October. We get so much stuff planned. We never know when we're going to be in and when we're going to be out. But you can always find out on SpookySouthcoast.com. That is our website. And, of course, you can follow us on Twitter at SpookySC. And we look forward to meeting you all out there. Remember, get those tickets for next weekend's event at the Fairing Tavern by going to SpookySouthcoast.com. We would love to have you come out and investigate for the activity that happens at 4 different historic buildings with us. And at the same time, you can also kind of get yourself amped up and psyched up for the Halloween season, which is upon us. So stay tuned for more Spooky South Coast coming up in the future weeks, but we will wish you all to stay spooktacular.
New Bedford News, New Bedford Talk. This is WBSM New Bedford, streaming worldwide on Radio Pop and WBSM.com.
From ABC